Hello, welcome back to A Boring Revolution, your number one news source for everything in regards to the Boring Company and Elon Musk. Now, a lot of newspapers over the last week or so, I've noticed, have been talking about air pollution. And I thought that is quite a relevant topic for this channel. So today, that is what we're going to talk about. So let's get going. So, Boring Revolution. Title of this episode is Will Air Pollution Epidemic Act as a Catalyst for the Boring Tunnel Adoption? What do you think to that question, guys? Leave your comments below. So, air pollution is a killer. All air pollution, whether it is from cars or factories or trucks or trains, it's a killer. In high concentrations, it will kill you very quickly, in less than a few minutes. In low concentrations, it could take years to build up, and eventually it will cause you ill health. Now, air pollution has always been a problem in most large European and American cities, yet we continue to see a huge spike in air pollution during rush hour and lots of inactivity from local governments. Back in the day, during the Industrial Revolution, air pollution was horrendous. It has got better. But the fact that we've got more cars, more trucks, more vans, more trains, and of course airplanes, don't forget the airplanes, the amount of air pollution is substantially increasing in big growing cities, especially in the third world. But obviously, cities like London and Paris, Berlin are still growing. We are getting more air pollution, more cars. London's Mayor Sadiq Khan has this quote for us today. Thousands of Londoners are dying prematurely in our city every single year as a direct consequence of our filthy, toxic air. This isn't just unacceptable, it is shameful. And he's absolutely bang on with that assessment. We have problems. We've had Dieselgate, we've got all these various cars that are non-compliant with emissions, in terms of diesel emissions. A lot of things are not right at the moment in terms of the cars that are on our roads. We can't get rid of them, in a year. It's going to take 10, 15 years to get rid of them. It's a big problem that we need solving. So, air pollution has caused more than 500,000 premature deaths in Europe every year. European Environment Agency. A lot of air pollution articles are in the Guardian newspaper. Now, they have made this one of the key talking points, and they talk about it quite often, especially this week. They have banged out maybe 5 or 6 articles. I'd say over the last 2 months, I've read maybe close to 20 articles from different newspapers, but mainly the Guardian focused on this area. And they're absolutely correct. The various forms of air pollution, nitrogen dioxide, PM 2.5, sulfur dioxide, ozone, all these forms of air pollution are killers. They cause long-term illnesses. If you just look at New York City as an example, during the day you have massive amounts of pollution in Manhattan, Queens, these kinds of areas. And then as you get into the evening, look at how it changes. Where people are moving, where the cars and the vans and the trucks are moving, it increases air pollution dramatically. And this is your PM 2.5, which tends to come from diesel vehicles, although obviously it still comes from petrol vehicles, but in far lower quantities. This is not good for people's health. Really bad. Really bad. Long-term exposure will cause problems. So, I pulled these posters essentially off a website. As you can see, these areas here in red are extreme. Basically, the CBD of London and the surrounding area is just a danger to people's health. And you look at these arterial roads, again, if you live near these areas or you have to cross those roads, which you probably will do, you're going to be inhaling some bad stuff. 328,000 London children attend a school where Nitrogen dioxide concentrations exceed legal and healthy limits. Scary, really scary, guys. It's a worldwide problem. India is home to 14 of the world's top 20 most polluted cities during the Great Smog. If you remember when that was on the news, and they showed the pictures, it was horrendous. You could only see about 4 or 5 meters in front of you. 999 micrograms per cubic meter. The safe limit is 60. That is close to 16 times higher than the safe limit. It's insane. People are literally dying on the street. That's how bad it got in Delhi. Case study. Now, this is a rather sad example of how air pollution is killing people, especially young children. And this has been all over the news the past 3 or 4 days. It's really sad to talk about this, but it is relevant to what we're doing today. Ella Kissi-Debrah often walked to school along London's South Circular Road. From 2010 to 2013, Ella was admitted to hospital 28 times. In February 2013, she suffered a seizure and died, aged just 9 years old. An inquest into Ella's death at the coroner's court in 2014 concluded her death was caused by acute respiratory failure and severe asthma. Now, this is a horrendous example of how air pollution affects people. People are dying, and it's causing massive suffering to people all the time. The people that don't die suffer with these illnesses for many, many, many years. Some are even forced to move to avoid the symptoms of their conditions. Why is this relevant to the channel or the Boring Company? We need a solution today. Simply increasing taxes or legislation is not going to take these vehicles and these trucks and these vans and these trains off the road. That takes 10, 15, sometimes even 20 years. And it's just too long. We need something now that is going to cause a major impact to traffic on roads in and around London and major cities across the world. Here's an article from The Guardian. This is the mother of the girl that unfortunately passed away, Ella, who was aged 9. So this has been quite big news here in the UK. This is relevant to me. Obviously, I commute into Manchester every day. Drivers in Manchester may face charges under Mayor's Clean Air Plan. It doesn't actually affect cars, but it will affect all other types of vehicles and transport. This one is just insane. Report sparks concern over poor air quality on the London Underground. So actually, if you are trying to use public transport, the air in the tunnels is of a poor quality because of the vehicles that are on the roads above. Thus, you're actually putting yourself in more danger using the underground, which is terrible. If you've ever used the underground, you'll know if you have a cold, you know, there's all sorts of particles in the air, and it's just, you're breathing it in, and it's not nice at all. London air pollution has triggered a public health emergency, Sadiq Khan warns. Again, not great, guys, not great. So what is the solution? There are lots of different solutions, and I encourage them all to be followed through upon, but I think the Boring Company is almost the most perfect solution for this. Many governments, local authorities and elected mayors are coming under increased pressure to do something quickly about the problem. Quickly, you say? Yes. Simply adding new trains, and they'll probably be, you know, hybrid or electric trains, replacing diesel buses and encouraging a few thousand people to cycle to work is having a minuscule effect. Many diesel cars and trucks will remain on our roads for decades. And don't forget, a lot of these vehicles are Volkswagen vehicles from the Dieselgate scandal. They've simply been sold on to other people. They're still very dangerous, yet they're on our roads and causing us problems. Investment. The Boring Company offers the perfect solution. Multi-occupancy electric pods powered via renewables, fast and efficient. A lot of these diesel vehicles on our roads, and certainly when I'm driving around Manchester, I know this, there's just one person in the car, maybe 2 people. The pods that the Boeing company are going to be using could potentially have 6, 8, maybe even 10 people using them. Thus, you are easily taking 8 or 9 cars off our roads, which makes a massive improvement to air quality. Tunnels can be built both quickly and cost effectively. This is my sales pitch for the Boeing company if I was going to try and sell it to the mayor of Greater Manchester, say. Also has the added bonus of reducing congestion and saving commuters both money and time. If you are stuck in congestion, you are stuck behind vehicles that are producing nitrogen dioxide. Thus, you are breathing it in. You're breathing in PM 2.5. This is not going to be good for your health. I hate to labour the point, but it's true, guys. Privately funded. Thus, no requirement for local authorities to adjust spending or justify the project's costs to pressure groups. A lot of people pressuring the government saying we should spend less money, we should have lower taxes, spend less money. This is possibly one way we can have less taxes. We get a private company to build this system, i.e. the Boeing company. Therefore, they're not outlaying any money. There's no need to kind of justify that expenditure. Thus, it's easy to sell it to the general public. It's not going to cost us anything. There's going to be less congestion. There's going to save you time, and there's going to be a lot less air pollution. So for those 4 things, well worth doing. If they can achieve, and I think they will beat this by 10, 15, maybe even 20%. If they can achieve $5 million per mile or less, this will be a huge hit once the system is scaled up to a sufficient size. And when I say sufficient size, I mean at least 200 miles of tunnels. My opinion, by allowing Elon to build a tunnel network in your city, you are saving lives and boosting the economy whilst also not spending 1 cent of public money. And you can't get better than that. That is a great justification for this project. How can this not be a good thing? How can you, argue against that? How can you argue against that? You can't argue against that. What are you going to say? We're going to build a bigger bus network. We're going to spend, £90 million buying all these hybrid and electric buses. And we're going to run them more frequently. Well, that's not really going to take that many people off the road. A lot of people don't really want to get on a bus. And a lot of people don't want to wait around for buses in the cold, in the rain. Obviously, this is a slide from the Boeing company. Public transportation complements current transit systems. We want to link into existing public transit systems, encourage more people to use them. Obviously, we'll let some private cars use the system, but there will be their own Boeing company pods that offer 8 to 10 people to use the pod at any one time. So it's a bit like a minibus in a way. Let's look at some other solutions. I think these should happen, but I think what should happen first is that we get building the Boeing company loop in these European and American cities. Add a 20% NOx tax to diesel. So you're trying to combat the PM 2.5 emissions. Vans and buses are not just going to disappear overnight. They're still going to use diesel. Thus, you're just making it more expensive for them, and they're going to pass the costs on to consumers. But we should do that anyway, but phase it in over time. Thus, we can get more people using hybrid and electric vehicles. Ideally, you'd want them to use electric vehicles. Expand the current subway/metro network. It just takes a long time. Look at the LA Metro. It's taken them a year to build 1.5 miles. It's and then sometimes they're late. So it just takes such a long time. To expand the system so that everyone can use it is going to take 30 years. Build more cycle lanes. That's what they're doing in Manchester. Huge expansion of cycle lanes. You're just going to be breathing in the air from these diesel vehicles. Let's say 40,000 people decide to cycle into Manchester every day. Well, they'll just be breathing in all the diesel emissions. They'll actually probably, lower their life expectancy, even though they're doing more exercise. Encourage more hybrid electric vehicles. So your Teslas, your Rivians, your Unity, your electric motorbikes. Getting to 80% adoption of electric vehicles will take 15 to 20 years. It's going to take a lot of legislation. You're going to have to use a lot of money to subsidise people to get into electric cars quicker than they otherwise would do so. The Boring Company has the best solution. Of course I'm going to say that, but look at the evidence. We can quickly build the tunnels very, very quickly. We can actually build the pods prior to the tunnels being completed. We can drop the pods in. Those pods are going to be multi-occupancy vehicles, i.e. we'll have 8 to 10 people in those pods. We're going to be moving them at 155 miles per hour. They're going to be going in and out of the cities very, very quickly, moving large volumes of people. When we need more capacity, we simply add tunnels. We can dig the tunnels very, very quickly. We can dig, 20, 30, maybe even 40 miles of tunnels in, maybe under a year, possibly, to dig 30, 40 miles if we have enough TBMs. Right, guys, thank you for watching. Very serious topic today. I hope you've enjoyed the content that I provided for you. And, we should be talking about this. This is a major problem. Let's talk more about this. The articles in The Guardian, in the London Evening Standard, in the BBC, I will link below. Please share them on your Twitter feed, on your Facebook feed, and let's get the knowledge of air pollution out there so we can understand it better and get people to change. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you want more content like this. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. We're getting lots and lots of more subscribers. Thank you everyone who's been watching this channel for a long time, and those new people as well. Thank you so much. And, I really appreciate it, guys. We've just had someone sponsor us on Patreon as well. I want to say a big thank you to that person. And definitely keep going, guys. If you want to sponsor me on Patreon, that would be a super awesome thing. Thank you so much for that. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. And remember, guys, don't be boring. Thank you. And I'll see you soon. Goodbye.